I will now demonstrate the features of the document editor. To start, we have a document which has elements, HTML elements. They have default styles associated with them. By hovering over the elements in this document, there's an outline around them. And I can see on the left-hand side the properties associated with the element in this way. By shift scrolling, I can see the parent elements of any given element, and I can scroll back as well, like this. By pressing S when hovering an element, I can select it. Now that it's selected, I can modify the properties of the element. For example, here we have a heading 1 title. It should be probably pretty big, like this. It should have a fancy font. That looks fancy. It should be bold and prominent and italic as well and underlined in this way. So I modify the CSS of the H1 element. After that, we can style more elements. For example, this one is like a subheading description. It should also be bigger and italic. And we can add some spacing to the sides, like this. There are many things possible. For example, let's make a quotation block. We put padding left onto this element, and then we put a border to the left. A 4-pixel solid border. That should be some gray color like this. Magical. Let's change the spacing here as well. Make things look pretty. Very good. We can add new elements as well. By pressing A, it shows all the possible locations to insert an element. For example, I'll insert one as the first child of the quotation block over there. I can change what element it is. For example, let's make an image. You can see now all the styles of an image, and we need a source. This is an attribute, so I just add an attribute like this. And we put some value here. For example, in my clipboard, I had a URL for a JPEG image that's hosted somewhere else on the internet. And we have it here. We can add more attributes as well. For example, an alt attribute is important for images. This one I'll say is Akane Kurokawa. Let's change how big the image is in like that, and make it float together with the text using the CSS float attribute. Float to the right. Very good. You could also do with some spacing around about 7 pixels. And let's make the border rounded, 10 pixels. Great. It's possible to select multiple elements at the same time and modify properties together. For example, color, purple. And now both the p tags have been colored purple in this way. When you select multiple elements which don't have all the same styles, only the styles that they have in common are kept, as well as attributes and tag names. Another feature is undo and redo, which is just Control-Z and Control-Y. For example, Control-Z, we've undone purple color. Control-Y. Yeah. There's a bit of a bug at the moment with the CSS editor and undo redo. But otherwise, it works well. Work in progress though. Another important thing is that all of our changes are constantly being saved. If I reload the page, I can see that everything has been kept. There's also a component library. When adding an element, you can, instead of an empty node, add a component. You can search for components as well, including by tag, for example, and then select one to add. For example, here is a title, a purple title. Components are special in that you cannot modify CSS or tag name or attributes directly. The way, if you want to modify styles, for example, you have to go to the component and edit it in the component library, like this. This is the component library. We can select any elements we want to modify, and modify their name and description and tags as well. For example, let's make this color green instead. That's a green title. We can also add new components like this. Let's add like a dual column, which is 2 side-by-side columns of text. And we can add tags as well, like general and structure. And we can edit it in the same way we edit documents, edit components. For example, this is editing the text. We can add a component. Let's add, an element below. Create an empty node. And let's change this to flex. So it's a flex box. Another thing with this editor, when dragging, you can move components around. So let's move this text element into the flex container. And we've just done that. You can see it's now inside. Let's add another element beside it. This will be our second column. Like that. And we can change the justification of the content. And if I didn't know something about an attribute, I could click it and it would show me the page like this. So I can see everything I would want to know about any attribute or anything. So let's put this as space in between. Another sort of side by side. We can edit them together. Let's make them like width 50%. Like that. Looks good. All these changes have not been applied to the component library yet until we click this button to finalize the changes. We have to describe what we did very briefly. So we can change H2 color and add dual column component, for example. And we can save the changes. And now that they've been saved, we can go back to the document here. And we can see the title is still purple. And if you look in the components, there is no dual column component available to us for this document. However, we can see a button which shows the library is outdated, and there's a more recent version of the library. That's the one we just created. And it gives us information about the change. For example, the commit hash, the messages we left, and some extra information so we can make an informed decision of whether to upgrade the library. In this case, of course, we'll upgrade. This is successful, and immediately you can see the column title. The title has been changed to green. It's good to reload at this point as well, and we can see that in the component library, we have dual column available to us. So we can add it to our document. For example, let's add it down here. Dual column, there. And you can see here it is. We cannot modify the CSS or anything, but we can modify the text. That's the only thing we're allowed to modify within components. And that's all.